أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان. صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah. Comstech has organized this training in collaboration of Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan and International Center for Chemical and Biological Sciences, University of Karachi. This training is a hybrid event with limited in-person participation and large virtual participation. These participants are expected to be from member OIC countries like Iran, Egypt, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Cameroon, Saudi Arabia, to name a few countries. This training is continuation of efforts of Comstech to support self-reliance in medicines and vaccines among the member OIC states as adapted in Jakarta Declaration and OIC Action Plan 2021. For this training, we have distinguished speakers from Pakistan, UAE, and Qatar, and we hope that this training will be a productive event for you all, inshallah. We are very delighted and grateful to have Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid. Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid is here with us as the technical focal person from DRAB, along with Dr. Raza Shah from University of Karachi for this training program, for this training event. Dr. Abdul Rashid is Director of Division of Pharmacy, Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan, and has more than 37 years of professional experience in public and private organizations. He is the architect of Drug Regulatory Act of Pakistan 2012, and during COVID 2019, he is serving as a chairman clinical study committee. With this, I would like to invite him for his welcome remarks.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am highly thankful to Comstech and OIC for arranging 2 days hybrid session. I'm also thankful to His Excellency Professor Iqbal Chaudhary, Coordinator General Comstech, and his team for the round-the-clock efforts in the arrangement of this hybrid training. Likewise, I'm also thankful to Major General Amir Karam Saab, Executive Director, National Institute of Health, Ministry of National Services Regulation Coordination, that he spare his precious time to attend this hybrid training. Similarly, I'm thankful to my teacher, my professor, Professor G. Mena, that in spite of his old age, he was the first person to come in the auditorium. Similarly, I am grateful and welcome to all the participants from different organizations who will attend this hybrid, that is physical and virtual training in the comstech auditorium and also attending virtually. In 2 days training, we'll go through the following training section. At first, I'll present about the country situation on clinical trials in Pakistan, where I could represent about legislative process of biostudy rules in Pakistan. Division of Pharmacy Services, DRAP, had approved many crucial clinical trials, including COVID-19, also in NIH, and also in ICCBS Karachi, COVID vaccines and other therapeutic drugs. Likewise, many clinical trials were also approved by Clinical Study Committee during this pandemic for the last more than 1 year. Thereafter, Professor Dr. M. Raza Shah, Director of International Center for Chemical and Biological Studies, University of Karachi, will brief about basic requirements of conducting top quality clinical trials as per ICH guidelines. Then we will have a presentation on country situation of clinical trials of Qatar by Professor Dr. Abdul Bari Al-His, and a presentation of Professor Dr. Naveed M. Khan, where he will present about the challenges and opportunities of medical research in Sharjah. In the last, we would have a presentation from Dr. Saifur Man Khatak, Director, Center Translational Laboratory, DRAP Office, Karachi, where he will explore the ways and channels through which the collaboration between OIC member countries can be strengthened in the field of quality control of therapeutic goods. We know that there is a lack of capabilities and proper infrastructure in OIC member countries in the fields related to clinical trials and research and development. That has led to the increased dependence of member countries on European and North American countries for the provision of new drugs and vaccines, including investigational drugs. Further, there is no culture of research, or I can say there is a lack of research culture in OIC member countries for the indigenous development of new chemical entities and their subsequent clinical trials. The purpose of this physical and virtual training will be to know the country situation of OIC member states regarding clinical trials. The second purpose is to look for the possibility of harmonization of procedures for clinical trials in member countries and subsequent conduction of clinical trials of different phases, that is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. And the third purpose is the coordination at the level of drug regulatory authorities, academia, research and development institutions, professional associations for the promotion of research culture in the OIC member countries. I hope that today's session would further our horizon related to clinical trial research, and the participants from regulatory authorities would figure out the potential areas of cooperation for clinical trials in the OIC member countries. Likewise, I also hope that comstech would further hold such trainings in future with the collaboration of DRAP and ICCPS Karachi. With this, I would like to vote of thanks. I would like to welcome and thank to all the participants, but especially to the Major Janam Ikram, that despite of his busy schedule, he gave us time to grace this occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I would request His Excellency Professor Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry, Coordinator General Comstech and Director ICCBS, for his address.
Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming that early, especially for online participants from the west of the country. For them is early morning, and I'm sure that for them would become a stimulating and important event, so they would feel their waking up early was worth doing it. We have with us, very fortunately, Excellency, dear brother, a thorough health professional, a wonderful manager, Professor Dr. Major General Amir Ikram, Executive Director of National Institute of Health, premier institution of Pakistan. We also have with us teacher of the teachers, Professor Dr. G. Miana. You know, he trained literally generations of individuals, professionals, and he played an extremely important role in pharmacy education, both in his capacity as a teacher, researcher, as manager of top universities of the country. He was the rector of RIFA. He was the vice chancellor of Gomal University. He was the dean of pharmacy in King Saud University, and many more. So we have special honor of welcoming Professor Dr. Ghulam Ali Miana in this event. Ghulam Abbas Miana, very dear brother, Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid, who has been instrumental in bringing this event. In reality, this was his vision. He wanted us to go into this dimension, and that we planned many other events. All of you for your presence here, and to especially resource persons both from home and abroad who would be presenting country reports and their experiences in this critically important field. It is an important event. It is in line with the mission of comstech, which is mandated to build indigenous science and technology capacity through inter-Islamic cooperation. As has been mentioned, we have some 600 people registered for this event, which make it a mega event in its own definition. The topic is extremely important and timely, and certainly an important one in which we all need to learn and also to extend our learning to the others. Ladies and gentlemen, comstech was established in 1981. This was a vision of late General Ziaul that he requested OIC Summit to give one single organization of OIC system to Pakistan, and that was science and technology. He had a clear understanding that science and technology is something in which we can have cross-border, cross-ideological and cross-political activities, and that has created a niche for Pakistan. Comstech mission is largely to serve as observatory of science and technology development in Pakistan, in the OIC region. It is mandated to assess the need of Muslim Ummah in science and technology innovation sphere and to build indigenous capabilities of the member state through cooperation and networking. And that is primarily what we're trying to do since last 40 years. This makes this organization the strongest and perhaps the most important intergovernment organization of Pakistan, with not only a mission at OIC level, but also a mission to promote Pakistan's soft image as scientifically leading country, a country which has excelled in many spheres of science and technology, and which is capable of extending help to the other member states of the OIC. In this context, Comstech has initiated very large number of programs, and I'll just tell you a few. We have now engaged Africa program, in which we understand African region has been neglected throughout. There are out of 27 member states in Africa and Central Asia, 17 are LDC, least developed countries. And there we find an actual niche, a place where we can have a major impact by intervening and helping them. And this is the reason that we have actually anchored through health and agriculture, developed partnership with Islamic Development Bank and Al Shifa International Trust. And then we are now moving forward in the direction of developing their capacity in the field of biosaline agriculture, high value added agriculture for security, ophthalmology, and neurology in the next 1 year. Comstech launched a major scholarship scheme through its Consortium of Excellence, which is comprised of finest institutions, the most prestigious institution in different spheres of science and technology. NIH is a very important member of consortium. And these institutions then become hub for activities of Comstech and serve the major mission of science diplomacy, projecting Pakistan's image as a country which is willing to help. Comstech Alliance for Viral Disease Diagnostic has been established. Islamic Development Bank is entrusted to finance this particular initiative because they feel that there is a serious lack of capacity in disease surveillance and networking in the field of viral diseases. We are organizing 12 thematic workshops in different emerging areas in different countries of the world, including Gambia, Niger, Nigeria, Oman, Indonesia, Pakistan, and other countries. Pakistan is also mandated to have science and technology innovation agenda implemented to build the strategy of SDI agenda, which is SDG equivalent of OIC countries, approved in Astana in 2017. And my colleague, Professor Dr. Khurshid Hasnan, is responsible of working in that particular sphere along with his other responsibilities. Now, recent pandemic, we all understand, has been a remarkable by all definition. We have seen gross failure of many international regimes. We have seen gross failure of international cooperation. We have seen gross failure of international aid, international diplomacy, but only one thing performed very well, and that was science. Science was deployed with dizzying speed. Science was the only sector of human endeavor which has matched the pace of the spread of the pandemic. Science delivered. And science has served as largely a savior of humanity from a threat which was almost of the magnitude of wiping out the human race from the planet Earth. And science has therefore developed a lot of trust and confidence. And this is the reason why we all consider this is a very important time for us to build the constituency of science, both in politicians and as well as grassroots level. Interestingly, when it was all happening, Pakistan very quietly has performed very well. And I would really like to compliment many people, including Professor Dr. General Amir Ikram, who is in the center of this national struggle against the pandemic, and he played an extremely important role. Pakistan response to pandemic was timely. We need to recognize good thing of a country. It was proactive. It was well coordinated, almost to a level of regimented response, and science-based. Very, very important aspect. Pakistan's premier universities, research and development organization, regulatory bodies, healthcare facilities, and industries have all come up exceptionally well and performed when nation needed them. The objective of this event is to showcase Pakistan's success in quickly developing a system for delivering safe and effective PEPs, biomedical equipments, vaccine, and medicines. The capacity of conducting clinical trials as per international standard was a very important outcome of this pandemic struggle. The capacity of conducting clinical trial is an extremely important aspect of national capacity building. There was a global confidence on Pakistan capabilities to conduct clinical research as per gold standards, and also at the same time, General Ikram knows how important it is that we develop this capacity which we have developed during this calamity would be the first and perhaps most important step in our accelerated growth towards our developing our own biomedicals and vaccine, because if we do not know how to conduct clinical trials, we'll not be able to do any development. At the end of the day, everything which is developed has to be clinically tested and tried. The pandemic has made Pakistan much stronger. Pakistan much more skillful than before in terms of medical preparedness, coordination among key organs of the state, better trained health and medical professionals, institutions capable of delivering basic scientific data for policy making, ICT providers deploying new technologies for disease surveillance, industries capable of producing everything in mass quantities, and challenge of mass production was met with great success. And most importantly, I think a better aware public. And this is, I think these are the greatest important outcome of the national struggle against pandemic. Through comstech, we intend to take these national experiences and skill sets beyond borders to benefit other OIC countries. There was a OIC Charter for Health, and one of the most important aspects of that was to create preparedness and response. And for that, you need to create capacity in different countries. And I think this is one step of taking that agenda forward. In the next phase, we intend to do this event in Uganda, Kampala. We have already agreed with the International Islamic University in Kampala that they would host this event next time in Uganda. And then we have a partial commitment from Kazakh National Al-Farabi University in Almaty to host the third event of this series. So hopefully by then we'll be able to travel and meet in person. Let me conclude my remark by thanking General Ikram not only for leading the national effort against the pandemic and bringing a lot of logic and clarity based on science, but also revitalizing this extremely important institution in the struggle of last 4 years. A premier institution which was unfortunately become almost non-functional has now taken the lead and doing lots of wonderful things. We are so proud of the achievement of National Institute of Health under his leadership. I'm also grateful to all organizers, especially from ICCPS, comstech, And DRAP, Dr. Abdul Rashid has been instrumental in taking that mission forward. Khazima has worked very hard, and my colleague, Professor Dr. Raza, has played an extremely important role from SACBS in bringing forward this important event into reality. I'm also grateful to all of you for your presence here. I'm sure there's going to be an exciting learning experience, and I'm sure that this would also go beyond this 2 days workshop, and we'll be able to practice what we learned today here. Thank you very much, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful comments. With this, we are very delighted and honored to have Major General Professor Dr. Amir Ikram with us. Dr. Amir Ikram is serving as Executive Director, National Institute of Health, Pakistan since 2017. During his time, he has taken multiple initiatives like vaccine and anti-seizure production, food and drug quality control, and research and development, with latest being the launch of COVID-19 vaccination, comstech-oic in Pakistan, in collaboration with CanSino Biological Incorporation, China. He is also a fellow of Pakistan Academy of Sciences. And with this, I would request him for his inaugural address.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Professor Iqbal Chaudhry, Dr. Rashid, dear participants in person and online. Well, it's a great privilege to be here. I'm just like you, and I would say a humble servant of the soil. But putting the efforts together, it's been a great experience. Now, as we all know, the global challenge of Corona. But I think the need is to bring opportunities out of such challenges and converting them into realities. Well, Corona did provide us many opportunities, many gaps, and it was our duty to analyze them and for rapid action. I mean, normally it is known for a biological event or a chemical event that if you're not prepared during an eventuality, we are in an eventuality, and every century has witnessed a global pandemic. With all that in mind, as we move on, we see our own response at the national level. I'm extremely grateful to the government of Pakistan, to the National Command and Operation Center, the Ministry of Health, and all their colleagues like Professor Iqbal and all other who joined hands. And it's nothing but joining hands, putting the strengths together. And that's what we did sometime back at NIH. It's an elite institute of the country. And for the last 4 years, I think, I would request those who are here must visit sometime and see the change. It's not only the infrastructure, but it's the mindset. It's the research element. It's the production element. And today, as I see, it's a very important event regarding the clinical trials. We all know clinical trial is a $1 billion industry. But if we analyze how many trials we conduct in the OIC countries, and I think recently we have seen many examples, but if you go back and starting from the clinical trials and going back into the initial intricacies of production, producing a molecule, then animal studies, then phase 1, 2, 3 trials, and finally after the launching the phase 4 trials. We do feel lucky in Pakistan that we launched the first ever phase 3 clinical trial for any vaccine, and alhamdulillah, it went very successful. Briefly, I would like to say that around 18,000 participants in 5 different centers were captured. My personal aim, and I guided the team, I'm extremely grateful always to my team that we moved along in a very smooth manner and delivered. The target was to make the trial successful. The outcome of the vaccine was something different, but we wanted to have a clear-cut target objective that the trial should be successful. And alhamdulillah, we did it. I being the principal investigator, it was a very tough duty during such challenging times of Corona. But with that, the outcome, the technical outcome of the trial for Pakistan was also very successful. And based upon that, we had already talked with the CanSino and Chinese authority that after the trial, we would like to have the transfer of technology. And here I would like, there are so many ambiguities. People keep asking that
it's not the whole manufacturing. There are different stages of manufacturing. Either you get the bulk, ready to fill bulk, that is the stage 1, the stage 2, moving on to the next, you get the concentrate, but then it has to undergo the formulation, very stringent quality control testing, which was much tougher than I initially thought. And in the final stage, you produce that concentrate. We are targeting that, inshallah, in the near future. We have already worked out the modality with the public-private partnership and approval from the government. We prepared a model whereby we will be going for the basic vaccine manufacturing for the other things which are not available in the country. And if you see the Islamic world, I mean, it's more than 90% of the infectious disease burden lies in the developing countries. So that's a good food for thought to us. Where do we stand? And hardly a very few countries are right now producing the basic vaccine. At NIH, definitely we do produce with the basic manufacturing like typhoid, cholera, measles, rabies, but we would like to enhance our capacities. And based upon this personal COVID model, we would definitely make sure that we move in the right direction very timely and respond to all the requirements. I mean, right now, for instance, in Pakistan is importing more than 93% of the vaccine, which is definitely a huge cost on the government exchequer. So with all that in mind, I think the clinical trials, as we see, one conducted in UAE, again an amazing task done by them with around 35,000 participants. And if you see their results analysis, people from all parts of the world almost included in that. I was very closely following our NIH team, very kind of the UAE government and the Chinese government. They allowed our teams participated in that as well. And then definitely the trial conducted at the Karachi University. So there are so many examples. So this just proved that we have the expertise, we have the energies, we have the capabilities to do these things. So I think, but the time has come, we need to go much beyond. Here I take the opportunity because it's not a one institute show. The role of Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. Amazing, because frankly speaking, we push them a lot. Whether day, whether night, we made them available over the weekends, and not for one trial, but so many other things that. And this one single trial, would you believe, has opened up the doors for multi trials in Pakistan. You cannot imagine the amount of pressure that I am facing right now for conducting those trials. We wanted to make the first one very meaningful, and that's why we definitely withheld the others. But now is the time. There are so many trials going on in the country for vaccine alone, and a huge pressure from different academic institutes, not only the developing world, but the developed world as well, for conducting trials in Pakistan, because we have a success story, and based upon that, we can move on. As I said, $1 billion industry, why not we also become party to it? Our neighboring countries, definitely they have done a lot in this regard, and it's time for us to boost these effects. So as I said, the draft played a very pivotal role, providing all the modalities, clarities, very timely. And it was only possible definitely with their contributions. And I would just like final few words that academic institutes in Pakistan have a huge potential, much that we can think about. So this is the time that we request academic institutes to join hands together, make a consortium, as we talk about time and again. We have multiple examples. Just to give you example, like with Professor Iqbal Chaudhry, we are making a genomic consortium in the country. I mean, we have developed during this crisis the capabilities of picking up the whole genome sequencing for COVID alone. And we picked up whether it was UK variant, whether South African or others. So we have those capabilities, and they definitely evolved to the next level during this crisis period. So I'm sure, inshallah, with the availability of vaccine, the crisis should come down very rapidly. And as you've already seen, the national response, and so many other countries, right, available, or the participants available online, as they can witness in their own countries. So it's the joint effort that make the difference, number one. Number two, that at our own level, at my own institutional level, we are having collaboration with most of the academic institutes in the country, and we really try to facilitate. We are moving to the next level, whereby we would be having a state-of-the-art R&D center for the vaccine research alone. and the project has been improved. Similarly, there are so many other mega projects based upon, I would say it's always performance based. So the government has approved a huge number of projects through the Planning Commission, and side by side, we are procuring a good number of grants from the international donors. And that is again based upon the target orientation, timely delivery, dedication, passion, and transparency. So these are the things which make the difference. So just to conclude, I'm extremely grateful to Comstech, Organization of Islamic Countries, all participants, DRAB, other authorities present over here for making this event possible. We have certain success stories. Let's build upon those stories. Let's rise to the next occasion. Let's grab all the opportunities that come. Let's join hand at the OIC level and move the things together. I'm sure we have the strength, and inshallah, with Almighty's blessing, we'll move in the right direction very fastly. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Very nice. Thank you, sir. So grateful, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time and kind words. With this, I would request Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid for his vote of thanks.
Assalamualaikum. I will not much time because Major General Amir Kram Sahab, he has busy schedule. So from DRAP and from comstech and IC, International Chemical and Biological Study Centers, HEJ Karachi, I am thankful to Professor Dr. Farid Khan Wazir, Dr. Abdul Khan Dhandla MNA, and Murtaza Qadris from Maruf, and from participants from other institutions, either it is in academia, either from regulatory body, either from hospitals or R&D institution. I'm once again thankful to Ms. Janab Ikram to give their precious time. I hope in the leadership of Honorable, I must say, I'm thankful to His Excellency Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry Sahab, Comstech, Consulate General, and in the leadership of Major Amir Kram, not only Pakistan, but OSCE member countries will lead into the clinical trials and research and development in COVID vaccine, and will meet the requirement of Pakistan, not only Pakistan, also to the OSCE member states. With this, I will thank to all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And now I would request Professor Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry, Coordinator General Comstech, and Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid from DRAP to present the shield to our chief guest.
Sir, आपको you probably have many of these. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Now I would request our chief guest, speakers, and the participants for the group photo outside the auditorium.